When did you first see a drone?
First time I saw it in Carnegie Mellon. Yeah, but it's not called a drone then, right? The first aerial drone that I've seen, I don't know, must have been DJI, right? Maybe, I don't know, 7 years back, 8 years back. So I see that, I immediately knew this will be used as a bomb.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because here is a question. Do you think all the embassies in Hyderabad are safe?
No. Not now, for sure.
No, they're not. Do you think any of the political houses are safe? The Rashtrapati Bhavan is safe.
It's not airports, not even sports stadiums.
Yeah, not even just safe from bigger drones with bombs. I'm talking about, are they safe from surveillance? Are they safe from dropping a small weapon? So we take so much effort to do security check at the gate with metal detectors and so on and so forth. In the airport, for example, right? How are you going to... No, what if I drop the weapon inside, right? So how is that controlled, right? So there's a lot of threat. The war has exposed some threats. Like everybody is now suddenly focused on oil and gas and nuclear power plants and so on and so forth. But there's still so much more. So the modern battlefield is not the border.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
The modern battlefield is the entire cities, all the core infrastructure. So the modern battlefield is everywhere. So drones have made it possible to make the entire country a battlefield. So border security is more during peacetime. In wartime, border security is not going to be able to do much.
The entire country is a battlefield.
Yeah, it's a battlefield, right? So, and we have seen that in Iran and all these other conflicts, right? They're attacking critical infrastructure, they're disabling the country more than trying to kill its people. So it's not really trying to kill the people anymore. Like earlier, it used to be like, how many people can I kill more? It's not really the case. They're not even trying to kill soldiers anymore, right? It's going after the infrastructure.
When the first instance of drones have come, most of them, like you mentioned, might have seen it, which was an aerial drone. And most of them would have seen a DJI or another company drone. And these drones have a human who's been operating the drone remotely. Now, since AI has been prevalent so much, how much of AI can be integrated into a particular drone?
I think the new generation of drones are called agentic. So you build an agent on AI,
okay,
and load that agent onto the drone.
Okay.
Or it can be even remote controlled by an agent. So it's like agent is like a pilot.
Yeah.
Trained. So imagine a trained, smarter pilot.
The reason I wanted to know about this particularly was when a person who's controlling a drone remotely, there is still an application of a human in the loop for a drone to operate. How soon or how far can this technology go where there would no longer be a human needed in the loop?
The question is not how, the question is when. Right? When? It is going to happen in, I don't know, in the next 5 years. 5-year horizon, I would say definitely replace all. Not all, I mean, again, we can. It's like, it's not like we're going to replace all fax machines. There will be some, right? But they are not going to be significant. Let me put it that way, right? So I think everyone worries about, oh, they were going to replace all humans. I'm like, they're not. I don't think AI can replace all humans, but neither can we remove all fax machines. It's like that, right? So they don't really count. Earlier, you would motor shells, for example. You launch a motor shell, it will go across the border and hit someplace. Now imagine if you could control the motor shell half the way through to hit a different place. It's intelligent, it's smarter, right? It's the
Longer
same thing.
range.
Yeah, longer range. That's it. That's the fundamental difference, right? So it's the same bombs. The medium of delivery is different. Earlier you had to probably send a gun or a machine or man or something across the border to go do this. Now you don't need to. You have drones that can carry the same bomb across. So it's not really as much the bombs have changed. The bombs remain the same, that the carrier has changed, right? And the carriers are cheap. You don't need to train it. You don't need to train. If you have to train a human being to carry this across, let us say, a border and go explode something, you need like 6 months of training. Yeah, you can do it in 6 minutes, right?
Yeah.
That's the difference, right? So everything is shorter, faster, and cheaper, right? So warfare has become, faster and cheaper. Shorter, faster, and cheaper. That's it.
How challenging is it to identify a drone of a smaller size?
First of all, the sensor has to be different. What the sensor that you're detecting a manned aircraft cannot work for a smaller drone. Number two, at the smaller size, there's a lot of noise. There's so many birds. So the radar cannot differentiate between a bird and a drone unless it is fused with other sensors, right? Because it's looking at physical size. Again, there's so many variants. That's why drone is a simple word, but reality is that you have some 10,000 types of drones, right? It's not something that is one size fits all. So there's no one sensor fits all either, right? So when you're deploying an anti-drone system, you have to understand what are the possible type of threats for this location, and accordingly build the system, build the sensors, the weapons, the surrounding ecosystem to solve it. So it's not so straightforward as here is a drone, here is a way to detect it, and here is a way to solve it. No. Typically a drone has a physical signature, it has an electromagnetic signature, it has a acoustic signature like sound, it has like that, it has multiple signatures. Now each of them can be detected separately using separate sensors, and because of its size, it's very tough to detect and accurately detect. The problem is most probably you're detecting false positives. So that means you'll have to switch off the system if it is continuously detecting false positives. So to be actually continuously running live and actually ensuring that it's 99% accurate with the drone is an extremely tough challenge. And that's what at Indrajaal we have become extremely good at. Being able to detect, track, identify, and mitigate just drones. Yeah. And mitigation technologies also, there are so many, but all of that is not relevant. Or the only thing that's relevant is that how cost effective are you? It comes down to that. It comes down to that simple metric of, what is the cost per kill and cost per threat, right? So I cannot. The problem is the question is India secure today? Yes. But if I have to launch a missile every time I have to shoot down a drone, I'll run out of economics much faster, right? So the whole point of asymmetric warfare is that they make you bleed economically. It's not about killing your soldiers, right? It's about making you bleed economically, right? So that's really the challenge. So if I'm anyway ready to bleed economically, then you don't probably need new generation systems. But no country can sustain bleeding economically, right? So hence you need new generation systems like Indrajaal to be able to assess the threat. So if a phantom DJI is coming, I will launch something that is cheaper than phantom DJI. If Shahid is coming, I'll launch something cheaper than Shahid, right? So yeah, it is the whole point is to be cheaper than what the threat is. It can't be more expensive. That's the.
So when did it all start, sir? How did this journey of aerospace, drones, all of this start?
As a child, I was a computer geek. So
Okay.
I was to spend my maximum time in my dad's office, because they had a computer on which I could play computer games. So that I was always fascinated by computers. I loved computers. So most of my gifts were in early childhood were also computers. So that love, I would say, translated today would be the love for robotics and machines, and being able to make machines mainstream. That's really what drives me, right? My fascination with them, so all my work has been always to bring humans and machines closer, right? That's really the crux of the work. The application today might be defense and drones, but like reality, it is that it starts and it spawns from robotics. Yeah, that's
Okay.
where it started. Yeah.
Walk me through your childhood.
Yeah, I was born in Hyderabad. I went to Hyderabad Public School. I studied there till the 9th. So in the 9th class, after 9th class, I was sent to hostels because I was bunking school, and there used to be a place called Sand Video Games. You heard of it at that time. So I used to bunk school and go play video games there, and that's, I think, once my parents came to know about it, and 2-3 of us friends, they sent us to different residential schools. I went to Nellore. I did 9th in Narayana in Nellore. Then I switched to Ratnam. I used to get bored of a school very, very quickly. So I switched to Ratnam in 10th. It's another residential school. Then I went to Vignan in Guntur for my high school. First year I did there. Then I came back to Hyderabad. Then I went to Manipal. So, I loved hostels and residential school, and I would switch schools. And I did only 2 years in Manipal and then switched to the US. That's how I went to Purdue.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, Purdue was a time. I mean, yeah, like I said, I always had a fascination for computers. So my Purdue, yeah, true gaming started in Purdue.
Did you have like a fair idea of what you wanted to do during childhood?
Probably not. I'm definitely wasn't sure of what I wanted to do, but the earliest time I remember what I wanted to do was, it would shock me at the efficiency of mankind would shock me, right? So what I mean by that is, how well do we use our resources, right? It's not something which always used to shock me, saying that, why would you waste so many resources to do the same thing? You can do it in much more efficiently, right?
Yeah.
So that was always something that shocked me, which I think today apply in most of the work uh, that I do. So there's an underlying drive, yes, but you don't know it when you're a kid. You probably figure it out much later.
How old were you when you figured it out?
I think I'm still figuring it out, right? But how old was I? I think these are all deep within you. So the deeper you go inside, the deeper you figure it out, right? So it is an internal journey. It's not it's not something that ends. And I know what I want to do, but the more and more I spend time, most of the time you do something and then you figure out why you did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like that. So I always, now I give in, and if I think that this is what I should be doing, I just do it, and then only later understand that, oh, that's why I was meant to do it. Right. So it's more of a realization than a direction. Yeah.
So you're more of an instinctive person.
I'm training myself to be more of an instinctive person. I was not.
Okay.
And that's always the challenge, taking time to sharpen your instinct is it's much tougher than achieving some simpler goals, I would say.
What fascinated you the most in your first instance when you went there?
McDonald's.
Okay.
Fast food. The first year is just, the first experience of fast food, at least at that time. Now I'm sure it's everywhere, but for us, it was like the infrastructure of the college is shocking. The size of their labs, the work, you never see 20 basketball courts together, right?
True.
Nowhere in India. Even today, I would not see
Absolutely.
20 basketball courts.
Yeah.
And that time, they had 20 basketball courts together. They had Purdue has an airport. Purdue has the size of the campus, right? It's just staggering. The labs, the kind of equipment. At that time, I got a job in Purdue when I joined as a lab assistant, and that time they had a piece of software where I could log in as a lab assistant and pick the hours that I want to work, which I'm sure is not quite there even today
True.
in most
Absolutely.
in most colleges and schools,
universities,
right? So yeah, it's quite a shock of how efficient can university really be. Yeah.
From Purdue, you went on to Carnegie Mellon.
When I was finishing my last semester, I remember I was working in the lab. I came out for a coffee. I was picking up a coffee, and I saw on the screen these two planes crashing into buildings. And I thought it was a joke, right? I don't know. There's no way that you'll think that that's real. But so last semester, 9/11 happened. And then I knew there's no way I'm getting a job, right? So I started applying for masters because, that terrorist attack changed US. So I applied for master and I applied for bioinformatics to Carnegie Mellon, and I got in. So I decided to pursue that. Yeah, versus trying to go and find a job. So Carnegie Mellon was one of those universities which was number one in robotics, right? I was in the Mellon School of Science, and I was actually doing most of my science classes because I took up bioinformatics, but I also took up some robotics classes, and I was reading. So I knew one lab which was led by a gentleman from Andhra, Raj Reddy. He was the head of robotics for Carnegie Mellon at that time, and he still is, I think.
Even now?
Even now, yeah. Okay. So I'm sure he's on the board or whatever it is. He was the head of robotics. And there was a challenge put by DARPA to build an autonomous car to cross the Nevada desert at that time. It was 2002. And there were a whole bunch, all the universities decided to compete in that, right? So they're building the first autonomous car for the army to cross large sectors without giving any other input other than a start point and end point, right? So that was my first experience for large scale autonomy and robotics, right? Which is something that always stuck by me. And I went to that lab. I spent some time. I understood what they were doing, and I think they were still at that time. What we see as a lidar sensor that is the size of a glass today, it's probably like a as big as a light as a dome, right? So.
Yeah.
So those experiences at Carnegie Mellon shaped my understanding of unmanned systems, and it's 22, 23 years later, and now it's suddenly in mainstream. I would say unmanned systems have arrived, but we were working in the labs then. So that gave me my initial perspective of what unmanned and autonomous systems can do, right? Our machines can be self-aware in some sense. Yeah.
So did you get a chance to visit Nevada when you were working with DARPA?
Yeah. No, I wasn't working with DARPA, right? So again, let me rephrase that. DARPA is we were building the car to get into the DARPA's challenge. So DARPA is like IDEX.
Oh yeah.
So they don't employ people, right? It's a challenge. They put a challenge out there, and a lot of universities, different people compete for the challenge, and then if whoever wins gets a huge. At that time, I think they put $1 million for that. If your car actually succeeds, and then they launched this car. 2002. $1 million. $1 million, right? I think a lot of people build a lot of cars, and some of them like literally caught fire. Others they crashed off a ravine, right? So many things happened. But only I think Carnegie Mellon's built car made it past the finish line, but it was already it made it literally it caught on fire a couple of times, I think, along the way. So early days of robots and autonomous cars, I would say. Yeah.
Were there still conspiracies of Area 51 floating around that time too, sir?
Nevada, no, the Area 51 was always there. Always. US is full of conspiracy theories about extraterrestrial life, no doubt. And the government is always doing enough projects to keep you busy. So.
Post that, how was it? How did your life transition?
Yeah, so after Carnegie Mellon, I got a job in New York area. I worked for a company named Pitney Bowes. They're into postage meters. I worked in the tech development division for about 2 years. End of that stint, I had to come back to India to come and help in the family business, which is into construction. But when I came back, also I wanted to do something different. So I said, let me build something. It's into defense construction. So so there was a challenge given by DRDO to build high altitude shelters. So I took up that project under the main family company, and then we ended up building a fully indigenized shelter in Changla Pass first, and then further up beyond Changla Pass as well, in one of the DRDO locations, which was at that point the highest shelter ever built, because
I guess you still hold the Guinness World Record.
No, it was only for 6 years. I think,
okay.
That holding. After that, there were other higher structures, but for 6 years, yes, that was a achievement. And constructing at that altitude is very, very challenging. Right? You have only 4 months to work. You only have maximum of mule carry, which is about 40 kg. So none of your raw materials can weigh beyond 40 kg. So literally, you cannot even carry big generators up there. You can't carry anything. most of the water freezes overnight. So if you leave them in the plumbing bursts, right? So there's a lot of design challenges to build a shelter up in those mountains.
Which year was this?
This has to be about 2006, 7. 7, I think.
There are few more founders associated from the Air Force also. How did that happen? How did you pitch the idea?
Let me put it this way. I think unlike typical startups, Indrajaal was never a typical startup, right? We put founding members because the three of us sat down and came up with the idea about 4 years back, right? But all three of us have our own companies. So I was heading Green Robotics. Sunil was heading Sigma Advanced Systems. Wing Commander Sai had his own company called Apogee C4I. Right? But three of us sat together and came up with the idea. So there's a founding member credit. And then Sigma and Green Robotics came together, invested money and started Indrajaal. Right? Okay. And I have been appointed as a CEO of Indrajaal. Right? So I focus my 100% time here. Yeah, but unlike it's not like a typical startup founders, where three of them are working together to initially start it happen. No. Sigma was already quite a large company by the time. So was Green Robotics and Indrajaal. So
now that you've worked with the Indian Army and Indian Navy, usually when a startup starts, they come up with an idea, a market gap, and they build a solution for it. And then they start a company doing that or solving that problem. But when it comes to a defense company, how much of interaction is there with the armed forces of what they want and building what they want?
See, there are two types of companies, right? In the defense, there are three actually. One is component manufacturing, precision manufacturing, right? So they manufacture some component for DRDO or HAL or whatever it would be, or for the RP themselves, or it's typically for the PSU. The second type of business is a defense contractor. Defense contractor is like he goes to the defense and asks, what do you want? I want 500 glasses of this specification. Okay, I'll supply it. So that's a defense contractor who is satisfying what the customer wants. Then the third kind of company are defense product companies like us, right? So we are not really asking the customer what they want. We understand we are solving a bigger problem, right? And so we are taking more of a problem statement from a customer than actually a specification, right? And solving that problem, and then making it into a product that can be supplied through the defense contractor and the manufacturer, right? So we are typically a product company, right? So we go by first principles on how to solve a problem, irrespective of whether it's for defense A or defense B.
Okay.
Right. So it's not like customer is going to ask specifically, this is what I need as a department, right? So that's what defense contractors do, right? So we are third category. We are the product company. So we solve the problem and then we build it into a product or a platform format that can be consumed, by all defense forces.
Can you walk me through some of the counter drone products or developed by Indrajaal?
Yeah, Indrajaal, our main products are Indrajaal Military, which we deploy for military bases. They have everything from cyber takeover to soft kill, hard kill, right? They even have laser capabilities, RC or remote control weapons. But the whole point is that they're all integrated. So, and with intelligence and AI on top, so that the AI decides what weapon to use. It is not something that the there's a operator decision. It's not an operator decision. It's an AI decision, right? And that only then we can be highly efficient. Then we have Indrajaal Infra, which is for critical infrastructure. Again, it's almost as similar to military, but maybe not. Some of the weapons, hard weapons, are not available for infra. They are regulated by the country. Then the Ranger, which is more for border security during peacetime. Ranger is not specifically to protect during wartime. It's more peacetime operations where a lot of infiltration of drones is happening, carrying, I don't know, contraband, weapons, money. God knows what it's carrying, right? Yeah. So these are three. Now we have a new product called Zombie, which is the interceptor, which has the capability to take on a Shahid class drone.
Okay.
So that's
it's a hard kill one.
It's a hard kill. Yeah.
Okay.
So I always believe that only AI can fight AI, right? So interceptors are, I would say, is at least our interceptors are a primary form of hard kill. As far as I am concerned, all other forms of hard kill are almost a last measure. If interceptors and something else doesn't work, then they come into play. Otherwise, interceptors will be the primary form of hard kill. Yeah.
When Indrajaal develops a counter drone system, are they prone to hacking?
Yeah. All systems are prone to hacking. So you have to take care of the security, the cyber security, and have an air gap, especially during wartime, so they are not connected to the internet.
How do they work? If you can.
It's how they work is like a dome. Because again, it's not. If I get into the technical detail of it, it's a never-ending story. But you got to think of these systems as a dome that within that dome, if anything enters, it will detect it. There's a DTIM process. The sensors detect it. Then typically we have tracking systems that can track it every 1 second. Then identification systems ensure that it's not a friend or it's not a friendly drone or it's not a bird, right? Then mitigation systems take it down, right? So all of them have to work in less than 20 seconds, right? So it's a very sharp and fast response. You don't have time for any other kind of.
There are few scenarios I want to give you, sir. Like scenario 1, if there is a drone that's carrying a bomb or a payload or any weapon that's coming up from the border, and how do you detect, track, identify and mitigate it?
So there are 5-6 different kinds of detection sensors, right? Radar, acoustic, yada. There are about 5 different sensors. So, depending on what we have deployed there, the system actually merges all those pictures and then decides whether it's a drone or not. Then tracking happens through radar mostly, right? It can track every second. So we will move in the direction, illuminate so that we know what direction we're going. Then identification, like I said, friend versus foe identification and classification, whether it's a bird or a drone or what class of a drone. See, identification is the fundamental challenge because I need to understand, is it a Shahid? Then what do I need to launch, right? It's not a Shahid, then what I need to launch, right? So identification is key. And then I launch the weapon, right? So since Indrajaal is connected to all the weapons, I launch the weapon. The real challenge is going to be, now BSF has a counter drone system and Army has a counter drone system in the same area.
Yeah.
And Army's drones are going to be shot down by BSF, and BSF drones are going to be shot down by the Army. So that's where counter drone systems have to be treated like, they have to be unified like a mobile network. So all the counter drone systems will be joined together in the country so that they are all able to understand when a drone is identified. So there will be a lot of common protocols that have to be implemented, which is now going through regulatory work. Yeah.
Who do you see as competitors for Indrajaal, not in India, but across the world?
I would say that we compete in the global stage with companies like Anduril or D-Drone, Shield AI, right? Um, each one has its own specific nuance, right?
Yeah.
Anduril is about autonomous weapons,
Yes.
right? It's not anti-drone.
Yes.
Now, when we talk about Indrajaal at a global stage, we are talking about autonomous airspace infrastructure. So I don't think anyone has really thought about autonomous airspace infrastructure. But when you take saying that one of the things we do as a business line is CUAS, in CUAS I compete with these guys.
Understood.
Right. So there's no point-on-point competition, but in different sectors we compete with different people.
It gives me a sense that doing so many things, you hardly have time for yourself. How much of that takes a toll on you, like personally?
At least it doesn't affect me. So I don't know about everyone, but I don't think. So I spend a lot of time on my work. So I mean, I don't look at it like work. So that's why I'm able to spend so much time. So I'm always on mission. So um, yeah, I'm sure if you have a strong personal life, it's a problem, but I don't. So this is pretty much
the stoic part helps you there.
Yeah,
that
the stoic part helps me there, so I don't have to spend too much time worrying about other things. Yeah. So a lot of things to do. So it keeps me busy.
Do you at least get a Sunday for yourself?
Yeah. Sunday is fully I spend on myself or something new, right?
When Operation Sindoor happened, Indian Navy first contacted you. And how did it feel when you won their trust?
It felt very patriotic, saying that not won their trust, saying that okay, we were able to help the country when it needed us, right? Money aside, right? And even the Navy, they were very supportive. They gave us good orders after that, right? Because we supported them during Op Sindoor, right?
Yeah.
So there is a level of quid pro quo in some sense, right? In the patriotism of the country. So yeah, it felt good, I would say. And it feels good. I think a lot of the people in Indrajaal are in Indrajaal because we are supporting the country, or we are protecting the country. Yeah.
Do you take no for an answer?
Only when I'm forced to. Yeah. There are a lot of times you have to take no. Yeah. It's inevitable. Yeah. How can it be always there's no, but you still fight, but you reach a point when it's inevitable that you take a no, and sometimes, yeah. I have no problem with no. I would rather a no than, I would always prefer a no over I'll tell you tomorrow. Please tell me no today.
Yes.
Right? I don't want to know tomorrow.
Currently, on a yearly basis, how many products do you guys release?
A couple of 1 or 2 products a year.
A year.
Yeah.
What's the goal? I mean, ultimately.
Let us say if I was a road builder, I would want to build roads around the whole world. Same way, if I'm a airspace infrastructure guy, I would want to build airspace infrastructure across the world. So I would say one day you'd cover the entire earth, right, in some way or the other, of where you'll have low altitude airspace economy that is running. Yeah. So protect it first, right? We are always about protection first, right? So I would say that hopefully our systems will protect uh, more area on the planet than any other company.
What does a crisis look like in a defense startup company?
Yeah, crisis is like, every month you have to pay salaries, right? That's a crisis. At the early stage, you know, um, you have to sustain to till the industry accepts, right? And then that's where the Indian defense ecosystem has a challenge. Unless a company is minimum this many years old, they probably won't give you such big contracts. Whereas
Yes.
US, in the first year, if your technology is good, they'll give you any amount of contracts, right? That's the difference.
If we have to compare ourselves to Russia, Ukraine, Israel, Iran, US, where do we stand?
Same as everyone else. I don't think India is any different. We are missile armed. We are partly counter drone capable. If it comes down to that, we have enough missiles to protect. Air defense systems are there to protect. But is it going to really be enough?
Is the question.
Is the question. So counter drone system, that's where intelligent, autonomous counter drone systems are the key. And I don't think any country has deployed such systems yet. Not even, only Russia and Ukraine, little ahead, but otherwise USA, Israel, Iran, not really.
How long does it take for India to be completely Atmanirbhar?
So there is indigenous content. So we don't want at a time of war to depend on production capacity on other countries. So even if I'm buying a technology from you while you hold the IP, I should have manufacturing rights with my own country. Right? So that at a time of war, I'm not dependent on your supply chain. I can have my own supply chain to manufacture, right? So that's important. So that there's no supply chain breaks. So for what happened, we bought some Russian equipment and Russia went to war. And then when we need our equipment or supplies or chains or ammo or something, Russia is like, sorry, I'm full. I cannot supply to you. We should never be in that situation. So that is the first problem we need to solve, saying that manufacturing has to be done here so that we are not in a situation where we're dependent on another country and their geopolitical situation for our ammunition or anything. The second is indigenous design, right? Or IC content is one. Second is indigenous design. Now, if I'm developing IP here, which is specific to the country, then that's definitely a great boon. But we cannot develop IP for everything, right? What we are good at, we'll develop IP, we'll give it to other countries for them to manufacture. Similarly, we'll get things from other countries to here. Manufacturing everything on your own, you just don't have that kind of defense budgets. Everything, right? So, yeah.
How long does it take for the entire procurement stage to finish?
Typically, capital procurement takes about 2 years. Emergency procurement takes about 3 months or so. Fast track procurement takes 7-8 months.
Why is there so much of a difference? Like you said 3 months to 7 months to 2 years.
Yeah. It's how the budget is released.
Okay.
If I have emergency budget of this much, it's about budgeting the money, right? So if I'm releasing capital procurement budget, it is, it's something that it's in long term. 2 years I'll be able to, 1 or year and a half, 2 years I'll be able to. So if there's an emergency that's coming, then I'll release an emergency budget. And based on the emergency budget, I can do emergency procurement. I cannot do beyond that budget, right? So it's a budgetary constraint.
Isn't the technology today becoming obsolete by the time you're waiting for 2 years and procuring the system that you want?
Yes.
How do we go ahead and solve that?
Take it as a service,
That's the way forward.
I would say.
We wanted to make sure that we have like a small rapid fire round.
Okay.
If you have to describe Indian defense tech today in one word,
Resilient.
which one scares you more, drone or a missile?
Missile.
One country's defense ecosystem you secretly admire.
Oof, it's a tricky one. Israel.
If you have to describe DRDO in one word,
Institution.
Indrajaal in one word,
Autonomy.
what's the most overrated threat that you've seen?
I would say today overrated is tanks.
And the most underrated threat?
Most underrated threat is drones. Like tanks.
We are glad you exist.
Yeah.
One startup you wish you founded.
The one startup I wish I founded, I would say SpaceX.
During a crisis, what's like your go-to? Is it a coffee or a chai?
Crisis. Yeah. Or coffee, not even coffee or chai. I don't know. During a crisis, I'd go for a chicken burger. Yeah.
In 10 years, India's defense industry will be at, I want you to finish the sentence.
In 10 years, India's defense industry will be, I would say, in the top 4. Right? Yeah. In the top 4 in the world.
In the world. Where do you think we stand at right now?
6th, I think. 6th.
6th.
Yeah. Not sure, but yeah, I would say that hopefully India leads the AI change.
Okay.
Right? And do it at 100 the price of America. That's what India is good at. Doing it at 100 the price. Right?
On that note, sir, as much as I would love to go on and keep talking about a lot more things, like I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I wish next time we have a conversation, we get to have a glimpse of some of your products and see what they do.
I'm sure we'll invite you to our next launch. So.
Thank you so much. We would love to be there. Super excited. And I hope nothing troubles you in this journey of making sure you build the biggest infrastructure for the world in terms of counter drone technology.
It's my pleasure.